Now you know what DaaS is, and you know the equipment behind it and the setup of DaaS. Let's talk about the performance of DaaS, because you can have a great setup, but if it doesn't perform well, if it's slow and laggy, it's going to be a bad experience. So let's talk about what makes a good experience versus a bad experience. So here you have a data center with a server. Here you have a business with a lot of employees in it. And you have a network. Could be a T1, it could be a T3, it could be MPLS, it could be SD-WAN, it could be any of a number of different networks. So a big factor in what's going to make this work well or not well, obviously, is the equipment. It's going to be the hardware. What kind of computers are we using here? Or what kind of thin clients or zero clients? What are the end devices that we're using here? Are they new? Or are they old? If they're old, they're not going to perform as well. What is the local area network that these guys are using? What are the switches? What are the routers? What's the equipment there? If it's new, it's going to perform better. If it's old, it's not. That's just common sense, right? Now, the equipment over here in the data center is what kind of servers are they using? Are they new or are they old? Are they being refreshed every 3 years, every 5 years, or are they using the same servers they were 9 or 10 years ago? The equipment is going to greatly affect how well this is working. How is the virtualization software and the hypervisor, how's that being set up? Are the people who are working this system, are they qualified? Do they really understand how DaaS works, how VDI works, how cloud works, how virtualization works? If they don't, they're going to set it up in a way that's not effective. So, and that once again is just common sense. Now, the other component that's going to really affect how fast or slow your DaaS execution really is going to be this circuit. What's the bandwidth of this circuit? Is it a T1? Is it a T3? Is it an MPLS? Is it redundant? If this circuit were to go down here, is there another circuit here that can pick up that workload? Because if not, your computers are going to be down if this circuit, if it goes down or if it experiences any kind of clog in the network. Another really important one here is latency. Just what is the distance from here over to here? Is it 10 miles? Is it 100 miles? Is it 1,000 miles? It's going to make a big impact. The closer that is to this business, the quicker that network is going to be. So you want to make sure that if you're, let's say, in the United States and your business is here, you have a data center that's close by and your data center's not way down here. Let's talk about prioritization real quick. This is really important with DaaS. So let's take a scenario here in this business. We have, let's say this is a medical business. We have one user who is streaming cat videos. And we have another user who is working on an application where that application is very critical, and it's very critical that it's used on time and that it's working, which is obviously very important within this medical field. So if they're both using DaaS at the same time, and this person is streaming cat videos or is working on something that's not important, and this person is using a resource-intensive app, like a medical app or an ERP, these are both vying for use of this network here. So if there's not an application here within the DaaS framework or within this network that is prioritizing this medical app on top of this video, then they're both going to try to go over at the same time, and this medical app may get dropped or it may get slowed down. So whether you're working with Citrix or VMware or Microsoft, you want to make sure that there is prioritization in which one of these applications are making it through and which ones are making it back first and which ones are making it back later. And that also comes down to traffic. Now, if there are other businesses here that are vying for this same network and they're putting through applications, that's going to affect the throughput from this business. So you want to make sure that your Your network is either it's localized, it's just being used by you, or there's plenty of bandwidth, or you need to talk with a managed cloud service provider like RapidScale to make sure that your network is optimal for DaaS. So those are the variables that really go into the performance of a DaaS network. You've got the equipment on both sides. You have what is the type of network, what is the type of pipe that is going in between the data center and the company, or the companies and or the end users who are not even in a company, right? And then what is the distance that is between those? That's probably the biggest. If there's a short distance, it's a much better performing network. If it's a long distance, it's not performing as well. Make sure that your business has a data center that's hosting that DaaS that's near your business.